All praises to Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. And this is going to be a lesson called We've Been Given Our Skin Back. And I was just listening to the indoor ministry that the apostles was doing, and it was going into a scripture that speaks about how there's certain false prophets that remove the flesh of the children of Israel, right? And then I straight away thought about Ezekiel 37. And then Apostle Tahar mentioned Ezekiel 37 a couple of seconds after. And then it made me, I'll go to the scripture, but then it made me start thinking about how in literal terms, without your skin on you, right, you can't really identify one human to the next human if their skin was literally removed, right? If you just saw several different human bodies with their skin removed, right, you don't know who that is. And if you even go into how the whole crime scene investigations, everyone has their own individual fingerprints, right? So that's a way that you can identify humans by their fingertips. So removing someone's fingertips would be a way to make them more difficult to identify. And that's what these nations did to us when they destroyed us, man. Right? They didn't allow us to be buried in graves. It says in the book of Revelation, which I'm going to go to, Lord willing, in this video as well. They didn't allow us to be buried in graves. Now, what's normally on a grave, right? What's normally on a tombstone? Does it not normally have a name on there? So they didn't want us to be identified in any way. They just wanted to leave us in a dead state as scattered bones, random on the side of the road, without their skin on there, so that we couldn't be identified, man. So that we could be a John Doe. Right? We could just be a John Doe and Jane Doe, and we would never know who we are, never to be remembered ever again, man. But Yahweh had mercy on us and made us be revealed as who we are, man. This is Ezekiel chapter 31 and verse 1. The hand of Yahweh was upon me and carried me out in the spirit of Yahweh and set me down in the midst of a valley which is full of bones, and all those bones, which it's going to go into anyway, all those bones, every single individual member of the children of Israel, in this time right now, all the members of the children of Israel that even do and don't believe, but the only ones that are going to recognize that their skin's been put back on them are the children of Israel that are of the elect. All the other ones are going to not identify that their skin was even gone in the first place. They ain't even going to know that their skin was once gone spiritually and now has been put back on them. They're going to think, man, I never lost my skin anyway. I always know who I was. I'm black. I'm black, see? See, look how black I am. Look how brown. Look how black I am by showing you how brown my skin is. Look how black I am. Look at my brown skin, and isn't it showing you that I'm black? Right, let me show you again. Let me show you my brown hand to prove that I'm black. You dummies. That's what you Jakes do. You'll point to your brown hand to prove that you're black. Like, you're dumb. Like, there ain't no nice words to explain what's going on with you, Jakes, man. And it's not your fault that you're dumb. So there's mercy to be had in that, because you're dumb like this because Yahweh's blinded you, man. If someone's blind, you tell them, show me something green. Like, they ain't going to be able to show you something green. They might be able to do it by accident, but they ain't going to be able to actually point out what green is because they've never seen it before. And that's why you Jakes can't see, that don't believe, you can't see that you're an Israelite, because you're blind right now. You've been blinded, man. Ezekiel chapter 37 and verse 2. And he caused me to pass by them round about, and behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Yahweh, God, power, thou knowest. Again he said unto me, prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of Yahweh. And part of the word of Yahweh is that you're the children of Israel. Verse 5, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh unto these bones, Behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. So imagine dry bones in the field, and breath starts going into them. And this has happened in movies, man. There's movies like this, little comedy, horror kind of movies and that, like maybe like a Ghostbusters type movie and that them ancient old, them not them ancient, but them old kind of movies where there'd be like ancient warriors. There'd be an army of like skeleton men, and end up with swords and stuff like that. Ancient sword. They end up with like old warriors' bones that are scattered in the field or whatever. They end up getting their skeletons joined back together, and they start fighting in movies. And that. I used to watch movies like that. I've seen movies like that, and I'm sure some of you have. So that's not a hard thing to picture. The damn tibia and fibula will start joining onto the femur, and in between it, the patella is going to be there, right? The humerus bone is going to join onto the radius and the ulnar bone, right? With the elbow joint in between, you know, the calcaneus, ankle joints, and all that. It's all going to join the metatarsals, the carpals, right? All of these different bones joining back together. The cranium, the mandible, the jawbone, right? The spine, right? The cervical connecting to the thoracic, connecting to the lumbar, connecting to the sacrum, connecting to the iliac spine, connecting to the hip bones, right? All that, all the ribs connecting. Just imagine that just by breath being put into them, and then they start reshaping, and their bones are just scattered at the moment, but then they start turning into the shape of a human. This is what we should be picturing when we hear this verse, man. Right? Verse 6. And I will lay sinews upon you and bring up flesh upon you and cover you with skin. So imagine now tendons and ligaments start also attaching. So that now the joints can actually move, man. And then the muscles start adding on, and the muscles can pull the joints, right? The muscles can pull the joints so that they can actually flex, extend, circumduction, flexion, extension, inversion, eversion, all that, man. Plantar flexion of the ankle, dorsiflexion of the ankle. You can damn swivel your hips around in a circle, right? You can flex your neck, extend your neck. All these things taking place in the human body. Yahweh's starting to give us function again so that we can live. And yet some of you Jakes are talking about we ain't black, we ain't brown, we ain't none of that. I'm a Christian first. No, you're an Israelite first, because the only people that can be a Christian is an Israelite. But you want to try and stand bold, but you don't want to go all the way with boldness, though, dear. You don't want to be 100% bold, huh? Verse 7. So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise, and behold, a shaking, and the bones came together, bone to his bone. Didn't I just say that? This ain't me making it up to try and sound cool. This is what Ezekiel was seeing, man. Verse 8, and when I beheld, lo, sinews and flesh came upon them, and the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them. So imagine a person's body's been dead for a long time, right? Which we was dead for a long time. The children of Israel, we were dead for a long time. We didn't know who the hell we were, man. We yes master this, yes master that. We were just singing all these Negro spiritual. We weren't really knowing what we are. The spirit was there to where we were still acting somewhat like who we are. Like even the songs that we were singing, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, and that's something that Israelite would sing. So we were still who we are, but we didn't know who we were though. So there were still signs that we are who we are, because of the curses specifically show that you're gonna because of these iniquity that you committed, you're gonna go through these things. So the signs was there, but the signs being there did not mean that we knew who we were. We didn't know why we was going through these things, because several generations had gone by to where we forgot why we was going through this stuff. But Yahweh reminded us, man. And now we know we're going for all of these things because we sinned. And on a deeper level, we sinned because Yahweh put secret faults within us, so that we was going to have to go through the blessing and the curse, and then we was going to repent, and we was going to become immortal. And all this Magog's revenge that y'all are talking about, Esau, Edom, Magog's revenge after 1,000 years, that's not going to happen. How are you going to battle against immortal gods that don't sin? How is Magog going to come back and do anything to us when the whole reason why anything ever happened to us in the first place is because we sinned? So us not sinning is not going to give any of these nations access, neither the ability to do anything against us ever again. Right? Verse 8. And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came upon them, and the skin was covered above, but there was no breath in them. So yeah, let me go back. Imagine there was a dead body, right? But then you start it's just bones. You can't see the actual idea. Like some people actually go to these anatomy classes and stuff like that, and they actually take part in these anatomy classes, and they've been around these bodies that are dead and stuff like that, right? They've been around these things, man. And even to be honest, back when I was a university student with the thing that I was studying, because it had things to do with to do with the human body and stuff like that. There was a time when our university lecturer made us go to a place like that where there's like dead bodies that have been preserved and all that, and it's for anatomy purposes. And the room stank, and it was awkward being in there, man. It was actually awkward being. I'm not gonna lie and try and say that. Oh, I'm trying not say anything that might make myself look sideways. That happened, man. I was in that room. Now I wasn't like touching all the bodies and all that, but I was in the room though, and the room smells very strange because of what the hell's in there, man. It was very weird, right? It was very extremely weird, man. And if you was to ask me if I would go in that room now that I've been enlightened to what the hell is going on, I would never go in a room like that. But in the past, I had. Just like how in the past I've ate pork, in the past I've ate ostrich, in the past I used to love eating prawns covered in breadcrumbs and all that, man. In the past, I've did a lot of things. And in the past, anyone that's actually desirous of mercy has also did a lot of things, man. Now, if you don't think you've did a lot of things, you ain't got nothing to think that you deserve mercy for, or that you not deserve. You haven't did nothing to think that you need mercy for, rather, right? But back to this thing of imagine there's the dead bodies all laid down. It's just bones. Imagine if you started seeing the bones make a shape. You now just by looking at a skeleton, maybe to a certain degree, based off the size of the bones, you could kind of guess whether it's a man or a woman, maybe. But as you start to see the muscles start to join on, then you'll be like, okay, this was a man, or okay, this was a woman. Then you'll start to when the skin adds on, you'll be like, okay, this was a man of this particular race, this was a woman of this particular race, and you'll be able to know the ethnicity, right? That's one of the things that your skin can sometimes identify whether you look like you're part of a certain race anyway, whether you look like you are, right? And that's what's happened to the children of Israel spiritually, man. We were just scattered bones. Then we started to gain shape to where people can't deny that we're humans like everyone else. Whereas before they didn't want to acknowledge that we're humans, you just see scattered bones. And they was like, well, and they used to say stuff like that. And this is deep when you think about it. They used to say, we don't even know if these people are human. Because if you just see some scattered bones and the bones ain't even joined together, you can't really tell what it might be at first. It could just be bones, and someone could try and bait him. Oh, that's an alligator bones. And then when you start actually taking the pieces and joining them together, you're like, no, it's not no alligator. No, it's not no monkey. No, it's not no chimpanzee. No, it's not no 3/5 of a human being. It's a human. Yeah. And it's got the same damn skeleton as every other human, man. It's got the same skeleton shape as every other human. Then when you start adding the things on it, yeah, it's a human for real. And it can move. It can do all the same things that you do. And somewhat better as well to a certain degree. And then when you start adding the breath into it, now the human's talking and it's got a voice and it can point out and it can do all the same things that everyone else was doing, man. But you tried to just leave it as a valley of bones and didn't want it to be buried in the grave so that it could have at least have an identity. You wanted to try and just leave it as in a dead state and not even have it as no identifying. Or those are just random. Like if you ever seen a bird that might have fell out of a bird's nest, it just be on the ground and it just stay there, right? Just as bones, dead bones, it just stay there. Nothing don't nothing don't happen with that afterwards. Right? Nothing don't happen with them bones afterwards, man. Nothing happens with it. The bones will just end up on the ground. The chick will die. If its parents not there to feed it or maybe try and carry it back in the nest or whatever, it will just die. And the bones will just stay there and eventually it will just fade into the ground. Now, we're not giving, even as Israelites, we're not gonna do that with the dead bones that are gonna be from World War III and all the destruction that's gonna happen. That's the first job that's gonna be given to the heathen captives, man. Bury these bones. Leave a signpost every time that there's a bones found, and these bone buriers are gonna be coming and burying these bones, man. We ain't gonna be doing that even. That's gonna be the main. That's gonna be a task that's gonna be going on for so long. Like, how much bones are there going to be to be buried that you're going to have to leave a signpost that there's some bones over here and they need to be buried? Like, how many places are they going? Like, how many places are going to be bones? It might even be decades into the kingdom that we're still finding look man. Oh man, this is look like an Edomite bone right here. Put a signpost there, man. One of these Edomites are gonna have to come and bury this. We don't need this stinking up the joint. Who knows how many years into the kingdom? Even how many decades into the kingdom that bones are gonna randomly getting found. But again, back to the analogy of dead bones, human remains, bones only, just being scattered, and then you don't know what it is, and then you could mistake it for being something else. But then as you put it, as it starts joining up together, you're like, okay, and then it starts becoming alive again, and it's alive as a human. Just imagine if a police officer, right, saw some bones like that, right, and was trying to figure out who unalived the person, right? Just imagine a crime scene investigation show where the bones are scattered, right? The bones are scattered, and the body's there. It starts to join again, so you're like, okay, the person was 5'10", the person was 5'9", the person was 5'8", the person was 6'4", because you can measure the skeleton height now, right? Then you start realizing, oh, it's not a John Doe. You start seeing the bones joined together, but then it's still just a dead body, right? And that's what it would be. But the skin covered them above. This would be verse 8. The skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them. So the things looks like a human now, but it's still dead. But now imagine if it gets life, right? It's gonna be able to tell you who unalived them. It's gonna be able to tell you. Just imagine that all these officers that they're trying to investigate unalivings, right? But then when the dead bodies are there, they're looking at the dead body. But imagine a dead body just got breath back in it again and was able to tell the police officer who unalived them. Just imagine that. How many crimes would go that are so right now unsolved? How many would be solved all of a sudden because the person would be able to I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is right now, man. What the hell? How's my mind gone like that? They'll be able to, bloody hell, what the hell, man? They'll be able to tell who, I'm gonna have to go basic. They'll be able to tell who was that unalived them. They'll be able to be a witness, right? In their own unaliving. Well, that's what we've been. That's what we've been made to be able to do now. We're a witness on Esau's wickedness, because it says in the scriptures that if you steal a man and he's found in your hand, then you must be surely unalived. Now, we're a witness in Esau's hand, especially those Israelites in America. And I want to say this, man. All you Jakes that have run your mouth against Judah, you better watch your mouth, because Judah's caught more hell than any other tribe. Benjamin's caught hell, Levi's caught hell, and all that. But Judah, and if we just even go with the so-called people that are considered African American in America, right? They've caught the most hell out of everyone. They caught the most hell, man. They caught the most hell out of everyone. Judah. Right? And even we can go Judah, Benjamin, and Levi that are in America, they caught the most hell out of everyone, man. The most hell. And then people want to try and bun them out and all that and try and always say this and say that. And Ephraim be trying to hate on Judah and all that, talking all reckless, trying to be racist. But then when they start getting caught up, catched up by them Edomite ice babies and all that, right? Now they want to start bawling for Judah's help. But where was you when Judah wanted your help, though? In this modern era? You know what I mean? Y'all still don't even want to accept that you're Israelites, man. You're still hoping that somehow you're going to be able to be considered white on the census, and you're going to be able to try and play a white card. Nah. You're going to be getting the same thing as what Judah's getting soon, man. You're going to be getting the same treatment, man. So y'all better recognize that y'all are Israelites, and let's not even get started on the Native Americans. When the hell are they going to realize that they're Israelites, man? What's it going to take for them to recognize that they're Israelites? Because they're still asleep without the breath in them for the most part, man. You've got some people that are considered of the tribe of the Native American tribes, like Apostle Rakar. But man, how many of them are going to wake up anytime soon, man? Now, what are they under? Because even still now, when most of the things be getting said about the children of Israel, right? Most of the rebuke's still on Judah all the time. But then a brother from the northern kingdom, they don't even be bunning out the northern kingdom as much as the northern kingdom deserves to be getting bun out right now, because they're wicked as hell too. So right now, Yahweh must be having his wrath aimed at Judah, right? Southern kingdom, because the wrath's getting ready to be shown on you other king on you northern kingdom later on in this whole thing that's going on, man. Because y'all are still some coons, man. You northern kingdom, y'all are still lost in the source, man. Y'all are still trying to think you're gonna play the I'm an Edomite card. No, you're not. No, you're not an Edomite, man. No, you're not one, right? But anyway, verse 9. Then he said unto me, prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain, that they may live. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived and stood upon their feet, an exceeding great army. Then said he unto me, and that's what happens in some of these movies, man. These bones be getting turned into armies, man. That happens in movies. Bones get turned into a whole army and start fighting against people and that. I think that's happened in Pirates of the Caribbean, and I think it's happened in a few other movies, man. And he said unto me, son of man, these bones are the whole children of Israel. So because the bones and the skin got put back on them, it was able to be revealed who they were. Just like how with the analogy I gave of a crime scene, a police officer, a detective's trying to figure out who unalived this body, and they don't know who it is because it's just bones at the moment. Imagine if the bones started joining back together, the skin got reattached, and the person was able to have their shape as a human, and their skin reattached, and then they became alive again. They're going to be able to give the best witness statement that could possibly be given. They're going to be able to know exactly who it was that killed them, man. Who unalived them, excuse me. You ain't going to need no other witness better than that. And that's why Yahweh Shai is the ultimate witness against this whole wicked world, because this wicked ass world unalived him. And he's the ultimate witness against us, the children of Israel, man, for how wicked we were. Right? The ultimate witness. The ultimate one. Our bones are dried, and our hope is lost. We are cut off for our parts. Therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, O my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up out of your graves, and will bring you into the land of Israel. Meaning you're not going to be buried in no dead state no more. You're going to actually live and have a great life. You ain't just going to be down there dead no more. You're actually going to be made to be something, man. Just imagine if someone was in the grave, our body was in the graveyard, right? And they was in there for like decades, centuries, and they was brought back alive and told, you ain't going to have to stay in this grave no more. You can go back to the same house that you used to live in and have a whole nother life again. Ain't that person going to be happy about that? But you Jakes that don't want to believe you're Israelites, you're actually saying, nah, I'd rather go back in the grave in my coffin. That's how lost y'all are. That's what y'all are basically saying. I want to stay in my coffin called America. I want to stay in my coffin called the UK. I want to stay in my coffin called Germany. I want to stay in my coffin called Africa. I want to stay here. Dummies, man. Y'all want to stay being dead instead of being alive. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to be dead when you can be alive? Why would you want to stay in someone else's house when you can have your own house? Like, why? It doesn't make no sense, man. It literally makes no sense to stay dead, excuse me, to when you could be alive, right? Why would you want to be dead when you can be alive, man? I don't get that personally. I really don't understand that. But hey, verse 13, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh when I have opened your graves on my people and brought you up out of your graves, and all the graves of all the different places that we were scattered in, and made to not believe and know who we are. And ye shall put my spirit in you, and ye shall live, and I shall place you in your own land, and ye shall know that I Yahweh have spoken it and performed it, saith Yahweh. The word of Yahweh came unto me again, saying, moreover, that's going into the 12 tribes. So I'm not going to go into that, but that is further adding to the identity of the house of Israel, though, because it just goes from, it ends up going from just being or the house of Israel to, okay, which part of the house of Israel are you though? And when it's all said and done, some people that might think they're Benjamin now, for example, they might find out now, actually, you're not Benjamin, you're Asher. Some people that think that they're Asher right now, actually, no, you're not, you're Judah. Some people that are Judah right now, actually, no, you're not, you're Levi. Because apparently, from what I've heard, Nate from the IUIC, he used to try and say that he was Gad, but now he's saying he's Judah. Right? So people try and change their mind, man. But anyway, let me go to this. Let me go to this, man. Is it 10 or is it 11, right? This is Revelation chapter 11 and verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. So imagine that, man. Spiritually, the children of Israel were just like a moving pack of bones. Each individual Israelite was just a moving pack of bones. The head's where the ankle should be. The ankle's where the head should be. It's like a broken jigsaw puzzle of bones, man, walking around, right? Every single individual children of Israel, they're there. There's bones being scattered by the wind, right? They don't know who they are, what they are, right? But then they started to reform their shape, man. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. But when it goes into the prophecies of what the Israelites are going to do in the kingdom, we're going to make these heathens' bodies be put in graves. But they didn't even want us to be identified. They didn't want any individual Israelite to have any chance of possibly being identified as who they were, man. They just let the bones stay where they are, rot. Who cares if the bones get kicked over here, kicked over there? Who cares, man? Don't worry about it. Who cares? Just let the bones stay where they at. Don't care. Don't care about them. Don't ever let them be identified as even being human if we can avoid that. If we can even avoid that they're actually really human. Let's just pretend that these bones kind of look like human bones, but it's like, it's almost a human, but it's like 4/5, 2/5 of it are not really human. So we can say that these people are 3/5 of a human being, but we're never going to admit that they're actually just a human like us. Because then if we admit that, then there's a chance that they could possibly be Israelites. But if they're not even human, there's no way that they could be Israelites, because Israelites can only be human. Right? This is what these people did, man. Verse 10, and they that dwell on the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because these two prophets tormented them that dwell on the earth. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of Yahweh from God entered into them, which is going to what happened in Ezekiel 37, right? In a spiritual sense, that's what's took place, man. And stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them, because they saw that these bones are really an army of the children of Israel, a spiritual army first, and after Yahweh Shai returns, it's going to become something else. Whether people want it to be that way or not want it to be that way, man. This kingdom, doesn't it say in Revelation 19, and I'll go to it right now, and in righteousness, Yahweh Shai is going to judge and make war, meaning his war is going to be righteous, right? Revelation chapter 19 and verse 11, and I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he does judge and make war, right? Yahweh Shai is allowed to come with what he's coming with, because what he's going to be doing is righteous, man. So people that try and make out like Yahweh Shai is coming back to put people in the naughty corner, no, he's coming back to, man, it's not even really fit for somebody like me to actually try and describe into words the kind of things that Yahweh Shai is going to be doing. But it's not going to, what did Anthony Joshua say? It's not nice. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's not nice, right? That's what's going to be happening when Yahweh Shai come back. It's not going to be nothing nice, right? It's going to be a lot of brutal things happening, man. A lot. Anyway. Let's carry on, man. Verse 11, Revelation chapter 11 and verse 11, and 3 days, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life of God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come hither. And they ascended up into heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. So it's going to be undeniable that these valley of dry bones that y'all tried to say, nah, these ain't the children of Israel, these ain't the people. Why is this voice going to be coming from heaven? That's going to be making them get ascended up into clouds, which are the chariots, and all you people that are not Israelites are going to be beholding them, right? And in the same, what's the scripture in Hosea say? And in the same place where it was said unto them, ye are not the children of God, there shall it be said, you are the sons of the living power. This is going to confirm that who the Israelites are and who the Israelites ain't. When a voice comes from heaven saying, come up hither, right? And you see these people getting taken up into chariots. You ain't going to be able to say anything else then. You ain't going to be able to deny whether we are or we ain't. Oh, no, y'all ain't Israel. Y'all racist. Y'all are teaching about grapes. Y'all ain't racist. Y'all ain't saying. Y'all are y'all man, shut your mouth, man. We're Israelites. Watch your mouth. And we're going to be seeing you shortly for the revenge and the justice that needs to be served on this earth. That's all you're going to have to think about when these people get taken up into chariots. You're going to be hoping that they're going to stay up there and that the false doctrines that y'all was taught where they're getting taken to some new place is true, but it's not going to be true because these people are going to be going up to them in them chariots to get changed, to be ready for what they need to do when they come back down, man, which is to rule over you people with a rod of iron. They're going to be given the protection, the spiritual protection against all you people that are on the earth, which is the ability to keep all the laws perfectly. They're going to be removed from being immortal anymore to being immortal, and they're going to become something amazing that the world's never seen, man, ever once in its life. And they're going to have the backing of the most powerful creation ever, which is Yahweh Shai. Now, Yahweh Shai is not the most powerful thing ever, because Yahweh is, but Yahweh, according to what we believe, was never created. And how do you even quantify that? You can't, right? Verse 12 again, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, unto the children of Israel, come up hither. And they ascended up into heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. Who were the enemies? Everyone that's not Israelite, and even some Israelites ain't gonna be getting taken up as well. Verse 13, and the same hour there was a great earthquake, and a tenth part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were frighted and gave glory to the God of heavens. A remnant are going to be all those that end up in the chariots. All those others are going to be those that are in Babylon the Great specifically, man. Babylon the Great is not going to exist anymore. America's not going to exist after the return of Yahweh Shai. In fact, America's destruction is what's going to make Yahweh Shai return, because he's going to be needed to gather the elect of the nation of Israel that are would otherwise be destroyed. And that would mean that their faith was not proven to be true if they get destroyed, because the Israelites in America specifically that are of the elect, that might not be able to truly confirm that they're of the elect right now, but they're hoping they're of the elect. Part of their faith is that when America's about to be destroyed, they're going to be saved from that same destruction. So in order for their faith to be shown true, Yahweh Shai is going to have to return and perform a miracle using the chariots to gather them. And I really believe that that's going to happen, man. I really believe that people in America and other places as well are going to be gathered and protected from World War III, what the most atrocities that's going to take place in that, man. When nuclear wars taking place. I'm going to end the video there, man. I don't even know I came to some of these parts, but this lesson is going to be called "We've Got Our Skin Back," man. Right? The Israelites have got their skin back or something along those lines. And on that, I'm going to say shalom to the shalom.